The moment dawned like a lightning strike in the late afternoon sky of the Talladega Superspeedway, and when the checkered flag fluttered, it wasn't just any win, it was a shockwave. Chase Briscoe crossed the line first, and in doing so, he announced, "I'm not just here to race, I'm here to conquer." All eyes darted to the scoreboard. He had secured his place in the Championship 4 of the NASCAR Cup Series. But it wasn't just the win that stunned, it was the story behind it. Briscoe and crew chief James Small entered the season under a dark cloud of expectation and scrutiny. The heads at Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota had invested in them, yes, but the message was clear: now or never. Industry insiders whispered it in January when JGR's competition director, Chris Gabehart, said, "There was actually a lot of unknowns, this kind of background pressure going into the year." He added, "Chase came on board, but of equal importance was J.D. Frey coming on as car chief and Kyle Abrahams replacing an engineer with a ton of tenure, but as a young man aspiring to greatness in this sport. They were the nucleus, young, hungry, on edge. This was do or die. They had to put up or shut up and get it done," Gabehart declared. Small didn't shy away from acknowledging the weight on their shoulders. After years of near misses, nearly winning races but never sealing the deal, Small said, "When we have years like last year, so close to winning so many races, but we didn't win any, people have very short memories of the success we had before. I never lost belief in myself or my team. I knew if we had this opportunity, it was going to take a little bit, but we were going to be a force to be reckoned with." And then, triumphant, "Now we're going to Phoenix. I'm thankful that we have the best people working on our team. We have the greatest people back at JGR. It's just a pleasure to be able to represent them." Briscoe himself had placed an open wager on his career the day he signed. "If I don't go win, I'm never going to get hired again," he told the media at the start of the season. He meant it. He felt that at JGR the expectation was simple: win or walk. He said, "Yeah, I definitely felt like we were capable of this. It's rewarding now that it's actually been done. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel like we were capable of doing it." And now, 3 wins, 1 shot at the title, a seat among the racing legends. After the Southern 500, Briscoe confessed, "Just seeing the names and the faces on that trophy, it's like, man, I don't belong to be on this thing. If you looked at the championship one, it's crazy to think that my name could even relatively be close to those guys." This is the kind of moment kids dream of, the kind of moment that defines a career. Briscoe admitted, "So yeah, I mean, it would be cool. As a kid, you dream of that moment. To be this close now to it, yeah, it would be devastating if it doesn't work out, but there's also more to life in the big picture than winning the championship." So let's rewind to that moment at Talladega. The final lap, the adrenaline, the noise, the choke point of the season hanging in the air. Briscoe executed flawlessly, and as he locked in advancement to the finals, the standings made it official. He and teammate Denny Hamlin were the only 2 locked into the Championship 4 so far. Briscoe had claimed that all-important automatic berth. The table beneath this moment was ruthless, with spots limited, the math catching up, and rivals sweating. Yeah, the rivals. While Briscoe and Hamlin locked up, the rest of the field stood on a ledge, peering into a chasm. Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson teetered above the cut line, but just barely, 37 points and 38 points ahead respectively. Everyone else, William Byron, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott, they were in must-win territory. Bell's voice dropped to a nervous chuckle. "It's deja vu, buddy." The reference was sharp. He'd been burned before, left out of the Final Four last year thanks to a controversial tiebreaker. His mindset: assume someone beneath you will win next week, then you fight to outscore them. He said, "You have to go in there assuming one of them are going to win the race. They're all very good there and have really good teams. Kyle or myself could win it. I expect a playoff driver to win the race, and I expect Larson and myself to race for that final spot." And Gabehart? He knew the stakes intimately. Well, it's a lot of stress for sure. He pointed to their spring run at Martinsville as proof of potential, but the fall would be harder, the margin thinner, the risk higher. Larson's collapse at Talladega, running out of fuel on the final lap, left him worse off than he anticipated. He said, "It's unfortunate. I'd rather have a bigger points cushion heading into next weekend, but we'll regroup and focus on Martinsville." Meanwhile, Byron, in one of the most painful turns, described his loss. "Those guys were just pushing really hard on the outside lane and just pushed past us." And then bluntly, Looks like we have to win. Down at Team Penske, Logano and Blaney sounded the alarms. Logano: "It's pretty apparent the second we lost control of the race. The car behind me was saving gas. That didn't help us and killed the whole bottom lane. Martinsville's not a bad track for us. We just have a simple point of view at this point. It's all or nothing. Stage points aren't going to matter. Nothing else is going to matter but winning." Blaney echoed: "Not the finish we wanted. We didn't do what we needed to do and we didn't get help when we needed it. Now we have to go win next week." In essence, while Briscoe satisfied his career redemption, the rest of the field saw the alarm bells ring. One dramatic victory at Talladega shifted more than one destiny. Back in the quiet garage, as the team celebrated, JGR's owner, Joe Gibbs, laughed at speculation of locking Briscoe in for a 10-year contract. He said, "You shouldn't have brought that up. Okay, do not suggest 10-year contracts," but then added with unmistakable confidence, "I think right now he can get anything he wants. I'll put it that way." Small with a grin, cut to the chase. You have to keep him on the edge. You gotta keep him hungry. Briscoe, meanwhile, wasn't in the room, but he called coach instantaneously to start negotiations. So what's the takeaway? Briscoe isn't racing for his job anymore. He's now racing for glory, for history, for the kind of thing that turns races into legend. No longer auditioning. He's arrived. And now, the destination? Phoenix. The mission? Championship. The adversaries? Wary, bruised, still in the fight. The stage? Set. The drama? Intensifying. But let's be honest, this win wasn't just a story of redemption. It was a disruption. A slap across the face of the old order. Because while Briscoe basked in the glow of Talladega triumph, chaos cracked open across the playoff grid like a fault line. Let's talk about Kyle Larson. The man was this close, in control, leading the pack in the final overtime restart, destined to put his name right next to Briscoe and Hamlin. But then, fuel. Gone. Empty. Just like that, his car sputtered out of the lead and coasted into irrelevance. Larson dropped like a stone, finishing 26th. He should have been safe. Instead, he's hanging on by a thread, just 1 point ahead of Christopher Bell. And now, Larson isn't just racing for Phoenix, he's racing to survive. Then there's William Byron, regular season champion, dominant, feared. But at Talladega, the sport showed him no mercy. First, Ty Dillon slowed in front of him at Vegas. Then on Sunday, Carson Hocevar spun him coming to the line. Back-to-back wrecks, back-to-back heartbreaks. Byron didn't hide the pain. "We got linked together really good in 1 and 2 in the bottom. I got clear for a minute and just couldn't get linked for whatever reason off turn 4. I don't know. The pushes weren't timed up perfectly and we lost control of the bottom lane. Larson ran out of gas, and that didn't help us any." And now? He's sitting 36 points below the cut. A canyon. A death sentence. Unless he wins at Martinsville. Which brings us to the cauldron that is Martinsville Speedway. Half a mile of brake hammering, bumper slamming, career-making, soul-breaking asphalt. 4 drivers, Byron, Logano, Blaney, Elliott, are in must-win territory. Only one might make it. Joey Logano doesn't pretend otherwise. It's all or nothing. Stage points aren't going to matter. Nothing else is going to matter but winning. Ryan Blaney echoed the same desperation. "Not the finish we wanted. Now we have to go win next week." And Chase Elliott? The golden boy of Hendrick Motorsports, the fan favorite, the perennial contender, crashed out before the end of the first stage. He's 62 points down. There is no math. There is no saving grace. Only one door. Victory Lane at Martinsville. Back at Joe Gibbs Racing, where the smoke has cleared and confetti still sticks to tires, there's both celebration and dread. Yes, Hamlin and Briscoe are in. But Bell? He's got 1 point on Larson and 4 must-win killers breathing down his neck. It's déjà vu all over again. "You have to go in there assuming one of them are going to win the race," Bell said. "They're all very good there and have really good teams." And Larson? His crew chief, Cliff Daniels, isn't hiding their reality. It's mathematically not a must-win, but we are certainly going to go in with that belief. You'd much rather go in there feeling like you need to control your destiny. Because here's the thing. If any one of those bottom 4 drivers wins, someone between Bell and Larson gets cut. It's that simple, and that savage. Now step back and look at what Briscoe's win really did. He didn't just secure his title shot, he hijacked someone else's. That win removed one wild card slot. It squeezed the funnel. It turned what was a two-seat scramble into a steel cage death match. And think about what it means for the sport. Just 1 year ago, Briscoe was publicly doubting his own career. He basically told the NASCAR world, "If I can't win in a JGR car, don't ever hire me again." Now, his boss, Joe Gibbs, is laughing at the idea of a 10-year contract, but also saying, "I think right now he can get anything he wants. I'll put it that way." That's the wildest part. Briscoe went from riding the edge of unemployment to having the most secure future in the entire garage. Even his own crew chief knows how fast things flip. "You have to keep him on the edge," Small joked. "You got to keep him hungry." But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't over, not by a long shot. Because while Briscoe has his ticket, the real storm is still brewing in Martinsville. 4 drivers with everything to lose, 2 superstars clinging to the last lifeline, and one final bloodbath before Phoenix. So here's the question. If you're Bell or Larson, do you play defense and hope someone else fails? Or do you go full send, knowing that survival doesn't come by playing it safe? And what about Briscoe? Now that he's punched through the noise and silenced the doubters, is he really ready to bring home the championship? Or will Phoenix be the crash back to earth? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because someone's dream is getting shattered next weekend. And if Talladega taught us anything, no one is safe.